We live in a very polarized period of human history where people will argue about almost anything. People today argue about economics, they argue about foreign affairs, they argue about moral social issues or the Constitution or freedom of speech and so on and so forth. But the one thing that you wouldn't expect to be controversial is your own country's national flag being flown in public. But apparently even now that has become a contentious issue. As reported by RTE this week, Council considering response to anti-immigrant tricolours. Dublin City Council has said it is considering how to respond to the erection of tricolours on lampposts in communities across the city, which are believed to be part of a campaign by anti-immigration groups. It follows requests by a number of councillors and residents groups for the local authority to take action in response to the practice, which they said is an attempt to intimidate and mark territory. Over the summer, lines of tricolours have appeared on streets in a number of areas across the capital, including Ballyfermot, Coolock, Finglas and the north and south inner city. Oh my goodness gracious! Good heavens! Shiver me timbers! Are you seriously telling me that the Irish tricolour is appearing on streets in Ireland? Well, Janie Mac, that does sound serious. This is almost as outrageous as that time that I went on holidays to Spain and I saw a Spanish flag. They actually had to rush me to the hospital with heart palpitations and I still haven't gotten over the PTSD since. That one sent me straight to the therapist's couch for years. In fact, my doctor says that I probably shouldn't dwell on it too much for health reasons, so let's continue. A number of well-known anti-immigration campaigners have posted online in support of the erection of tricolours, similar to the Operation Raise the Colours campaign currently taking place across the UK. It's understood that council officials have been struggling to find a solution to the issue because there are no explicit rules in relation to flying the national flag in the Dublin City area, and the practice is one that often occurs during major sporting events such as the Olympics or the World Cup. There's also understood to be a reluctance among both council workers and contractors to remove national flags from the areas that they've been erected in. So what exactly is the problem here with Irish flags being flown in Ireland, you ask? What is the precise scandal that we're all supposed to be soiling our collective jocks over? Well, I'll allow our esteemed councillors to explain. In a written question to the council's chief executive, Labour councillor to Dublin South Central Dara Moriarty asked what action the council is going to take against what he described as the weaponization of the tricolour by far-right and malicious agitators who seek to use our flag as a means to intimidate. Councillor Moriarty said, "This attempted capture of our flag for hateful intent must be faced head-on by the country's largest local authority." Ooh. Fine Gael councillor for the Artane Whitehall area, Declan Flanagan, also submitted a written question asking if the chief executive can instruct staff to remove the flag from an area in his constituency where he said he believes it is being used outside of the official means to mark territory and homogenize spaces. So apparently the concern here is that the Irish flag is being used to mark territory, and of course the territory that we're referring to here is the nation of Ireland, much in the same way that the Mexican flag is used to demarcate Mexican territory, or Singapore flags are used to mark Singapore's national territory. That's actually the entire purpose of a flag, marking your nation state's territory and symbolizing where your nation's jurisdiction resides. So what dastardly supervillain is responsible for this skullduggery? Was it Lex Luthor perhaps, who's flying Irish flags in Irish neighbourhoods? Did the Joker escape from Arkham Asylum again and this is his latest scheme? Well, let's allow our beloved public service broadcaster to enlighten us. In a video posted on Instagram last week, Councillor Malachy Steenson, who represents the North Inner City, posted a video of the flags along the North Strand and commented, "Amazing work from our team getting our flag up all the way down the North Strand and Sheriff Street. We have taken our flag back from those who are intent on destroying our country and we are proud to fly it." Councillor Gavin Pepper, who represents the Finglas Ballymun area, said that while he was not involved in the erection of flags in his area, he fully supports the flying of tricolours in the city and does not believe they should be removed. I think they should be all over the city, and I don't think they should be took down at all. I think people should be very proud of where they're from, he said. I'm happy of my country, and there's no need for anybody to be asking for our national flag to be took down. It should be in every street, on every lamppost, up high, and that's the way it should be. Irish flags everywhere. So to be clear here, Dublin City Council are crashing out and having a screaming panic attack because an Irish elected politician is flying Irish flags in Ireland. This is an example of the rise of the far right. This is all very reminiscent to me of the time that then People Before Profit councillor Matthew Wayne said he didn't want to see the Irish flag flying over state buildings because the country of your birth is nothing significant, and he said that because we live in a multicultural society, we don't want to divide people by flying a national flag. He actually said we should fly the red flag of communism instead.
Councillor Matthew Wayne, thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Mayor. I don't really agree with this. I think there's a lot of issues here. We have one of the most multicultural populations of the whole country living in Fingal, and I think we need to consider the sensitivity of this, because the issue of religion, language, nationality, all of those issues are extremely sensitive, and we've seen how that can play out up the road, 100 miles up the road. We've seen how those issues can be played to divide people right the way across the world and so on. And I would prefer to see the flagpoles outside this building being used to express what Councillor O'Leary said, to express solidarity with people. So, for example, on the week of Pride, I think we should show the rainbow flag. I think we should be flow the flags of minority groups, Pavey Point and so on. All of those many different cultural and religious and ethnic organisations could be facilitated within that. I think that there are, there's a certain narrative that the differences in society are purely ethnic and national and so on. I come from a different tradition, the tradition of the workers' movement, the labour movement, which doesn't see the country of your birth as being anything really significant in that context. And instead, I think the divisions in society are class divisions. I would prefer to see the red flag fly outside County Hall here, and maybe in the future that will be the case.
So there you have it from the comrade himself. Multiculturalism, it seems, includes every culture but yours. So actually stop and think about what's going on here for a moment. All of this is being done in an effort to combat the so-called far right. And you'll notice that the people who make these arguments have no problem celebrating other countries' flags. They're happy to fly the flag of other countries like Palestine or Ukraine. In January 2025, Cork City Council raised Pakistani flags in the City Hall to recognise Pakistani Independence Day. They'll fly gay, bisexual and non-binary pride flags or EU flags or UN flags. The only flag that they object to being flown is the Irish flag. So to put it another way, their way of stopping the far right is by telling Irish people that the only flag that should be taken down is the one that represents your nation, your history, and your cherished traditions. You can go to hell. Everyone else takes precedence over you in your own country. That is the actual position of official Ireland. We even have journalists admitting that now when they see the tricolour flying outside a house, they assume that the people in that household are a pack of racists.
Mick, we were talking about this already this morning. You think that the tricolour really has been taken by the far right, and when you see one flying, I know certainly when I see one flying now, I'm much more likely to think, well, that's probably a racist household than maybe a national pride one.
Yeah, Sean, I mean, I think there's a case to be made for that.
So there's already a substantial section of the population who feel disenfranchised and like the establishment is out to get them. And what is the response of politicians in the media? Well, to make an enemy of the Irish tricolour itself, and to pick a fight with anyone who wants to fly their own nation's flag in public. If they were literally going out of their way to try and radicalize people, it's hard to imagine how they could do a better job. If taking down Irish flags is the hill that official Ireland wants to die on, then be my guest, but it is one of the most needlessly disastrous unforced errors in history.